Welcome back to Markets Today. It's suddenly a very cold day in Nairobi, but there's a lot happening on the Nairobi Securities Exchange. What has been your investment angle for the month of September? Have you made some money? Did you lose some money? Let us know. Our SMS line is 20146. You could also let me know. That's Bitha Mwema on Twitter or all other social media platforms. But that's not what I want us to focus on today. I would like us to focus on what happened in the month of August and what should we expect in the month of September. Now, Standard Investment Bank has a very detailed report that they publish each and every single month, and it covers an overview of what happened in the month, what were the key drivers, and what to expect for the subsequent month. To take us through this particular report, we have in studio Martin Karemi, who is a senior analyst at Standard Investment Bank. Welcome to the show, Martin.
Thank you for having me, Bila.
All right. So, what's happening in the markets? What was happening in August? What's exciting? What's fun? What's buzzing in the market?
I guess it's the tale of two halves.
Yes.
Okay. Excuse me. So it was a tale of two halves. We saw first half being beginning of the month all the way to the first 2 weeks, and the next 2 weeks were completely different. The first 2 weeks, we had our first, can I call it spook, when KCB announced its results, and all of a sudden we started seeing a sell-off in basically most of the large caps. You saw that in banking stocks, Safaricom, and a lot of large caps essentially across the board, and foreigners fleeing the market. But second half, after the jitters cooled off, whereby investors went ahead and like, wait a second, things are not as bad as you expected, and you're thinking the macros are pretty tough, pretty robust. We started seeing now foreigners coming back into the market. There were net inflows in the second half of August, and the stock market, basically most of the large cap rebounding now in the last 2 weeks of August. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So a rebound in the last couple of months.
The last 2 weeks.
The last 2 weeks of
yes,
August.
The
okay.
last 2 weeks of August. Yes.
I think we have a part of your graphics. Our graphics team can put out the stats for us. Then you can walk us through what was happening with the indices, what was happening with turnover, and what was happening in as far as the foreign investors are concerned.
Fair enough. The market in general ended the month 4.8% month on month up. Basically recouping most of the losses shared in July.
Okay.
Like I've pointed out earlier, it's all about how the last 2 weeks played out. We saw a lot of inflows in those 2 weeks, and purely as a result of Safaricom led the inflows basically the month of April, and month of August.
Okay, it hit a low. Is it of 26 in the month of August?
Yeah, 27.
Yes.
And then by the end, we had actually touched 30 shillings.
Wow.
So there was a lot of interest as a result of the low price points.
Okay.
Okay. You remember even Equity Bank touched sub 30 for the first time in 3 years.
I
all right.
Yes.
And then after that rallied for like a week, 2 weeks, rebounding all the way to right now around your 36, 37.
Yes.
We've already started seeing some profit taking this month, which was technically expected.
Okay.
It goes up too fast. It's only a matter of time when you just see the short sellers, basically the profit takers, investors taking profit as a result of that.
All right.
From a turnover perspective, it was down. The previous month, July, we were talking about around $125 million. But last month we did $97 million.
Okay.
So it wasn't as robust as July.
Okay.
I think July is because of towards the dividend closure for Safaricom was 31st of July.
Okay.
So there was a lot of activity as investors
trying to
get into the mix of the register before the register closes. Yeah.
So when you look at turnover, where we are year to date compared to where we were last year, is this a better year for trading on the NSE compared to last year?
Yes. Surprisingly, yes, which is good for intermediaries.
Okay. For the brokers.
So yeah, I think what you're happy, of course, the market cap, it's down almost 17% year to date, which is not good from our perspective, from investor world perspective. But in terms of turnover, the activities, the number of shares traded have actually been higher vis-a-vis last year, which is good.
Okay.
At least there's a lot of participation. Locals are still, they always lag behind. That's the unfortunate thing about locals. However, uh, I'll give them credit by taking advantage of the low price points. Case in
Okay.
point, your Nation Media right now that
Yes.
you're talking about.
Okay,
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
I have one other question before we just take a deep dive on some of the other segments of the report. So foreigners were not in the market. They sort of started coming back the tail end of the month of August.
Yeah.
Turnover was lower than it was in the month of July. Now, I know from January to date, we've seen a bit of a currency depreciation, about 6%, 6 to 7 percentage points erosion. Now, the foreigners are always looking at the currency because you really don't want to buy at this level yet. There could be some weakness.
Yeah.
What sense do you get when you engage with the foreign investors, when you engage with your traders on the desk? Are the foreigners now okay with the currency where it is, or do they expect weakness? And are they now okay to come back to the NSE in terms of investing in this market?
That's a very good question. Of course, one of the things they're very jittery about if the currency depreciation, because it's going to wipe out any capital gains and when they're exiting their positions. However, they're looking at, for starters, how robust is the Kenyan economy. We look at, yes, our FX, our local currency is depreciated. However, when you look at it from a global perspective, emerging and frontier currencies,
Okay.
they've all taken hits.
Yes.
But when you look at our sources of foreign currency, look at remittances. I was the first one thought remittances will take a hit,
Yes.
especially seeing how the North America, US is performing in terms of the recession already it kicked in way earlier than ours. Yet they have been pretty robust year to date. We're actually up. By July, we're up almost 4% vis-a-vis July last year in terms of remittances. Tea, we already see now it has rebounded. Horticulture, the same thing. Coffee, the same thing. So, and our foreign currency reserves, in as much as they're funded by, the buffer is actually as a result of the loans. We
Yes.
all agree on that.
Yes.
That's a topic for another day. However, there's enough buffer basically to support volatility in the local shilling space.
Okay.
So, and I think just to show you how they are appreciative of where we are as a country in terms of the robustness of our macros is on two fronts. Last month, like I said, the last 2 weeks, they're pretty net buyers. They came in forcefully, all right? And then secondly, look at our Eurobond yield curve.
Okay.
It hasn't spiked like your Argentina's or your other emerging markets or frontier markets for that matter. That shows you, even after the downgrade of our outlook, it still remained robust. It's as if they had already expected
Yes.
this softening to start, but
Okay.
right now they're saying we are pretty well diversified economy.
Okay,
Yes,
so
yeah.
it's not too bad.
It's not too bad.
Okay, all
yeah.
right. So let's take a look at the top movers. Our graphics team will put that up for us. Where was the majority of the activity in the month of August?
I'm pretty sure you already guess. It's Safaricom. At the end of the day, it's Safaricom.
Okay.
Safaricom calls the shots.
All right.
If it takes a sneeze, the whole market will feel it.
What was Safaricom in terms of total turnover? Was it over 50%? It normally is there, or was it slightly lower this time around?
It was over 50% because you're looking at a turnover of $55 million.
Yes.
Yet the next one being Equity Bank is around $12 million, which
Okay.
is pretty.
That's a huge differential.
That's a very huge differential.
What is that in local currency, though?
That should be around times 8.
Okay. All right. Okay,
I'm
fair enough. So, but you can sort of see the differential.
Exactly.
So one is 55, the other one is 12.
It's
So
$12 million.
$12 million,
which is pretty. That shows you a very big differential in terms of activity for the
Okay.
two counters.
Okay.
Actually, not just for the two counters, for the market. It's so skewed towards Safaricom.
Okay.
You can't be a fund manager
If you don't have
Safaricom in your
Okay.
portfolio.
All right.
Yeah, technically. Yeah.
I think we're waiting for our graphics team to sort of put out the charts for the turnover, the top traded stocks. I think that's our second set of graphics for the day. So we have Safaricom and then Equity Bank. And then what was the third top traded stock?
KCB.
And how much was that?
Around $10 million.
All right.
The beauty about it is all the top movers, bar Stanbic, for instance, They're the only ones that didn't record register price gain.
Okay.
So Equity Bank closed the month up almost 13%, 12.6%.
Okay.
And that's, like we said, there was already, it hit a sub 30, something it has never hit. When they released their results down 24%,
Yes.
I think there were a lot of jitters.
Yes.
They did the earnings call. I think that really it cooled off investors to show them that they're sort
We're
of
okay.
on top. We're on top of things.
Yes.
However, I think one of the biggest worry about Equity Bank is its exposure to SMEs.
Yes.
But the beauty about it is seeing that we are slowly trickling back to normalcy.
Okay.
I'm using the word slowly.
Slowly. Okay. All right.
We are, if the numbers that are being announced by the Ministry of Health are anything to go by, we are technically
No, but we are
flat
back.
in the
I know you
curve.
like using traffic as a reference. Right?
Exactly.
We are back,
yeah.
and we're also seeing globally. I think I was catching up on news. Places, Hong Kong, Singapore, was like, okay, now we kind of know how to deal with this. So let's just release and ease the restrictions in terms of movement. So
That is fantastic. Exactly. And I think, I have a feeling this will be the last month of really stringent restrictions, if the last president's address is anything to go by, especially when he came forward and gave guidelines, said that bar owners and the ilk to go ahead and come up with self-regulating regulations. Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Which I think it points to the narrative that things might be going back to normalcy pretty sooner than expected.
Okay.
Which is
that's
great news
great
across the
news.
board, yes.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah.
So when you're going through your top movers, was there a surprise mover in your list of top 10?
BK Group.
Okay.
I think it usually does a lot of foreign block trades.
Okay.
BK Group does a lot of that. I think very few locals.
So this is Bank of Kigali?
Bank of Kigali,
Okay.
sorry, Bank of Kigali. I'll have to admit I've never even taken
Okay,
a
fair
dive
enough.
on how the numbers look like. I think it's simply because they will need to convert those their financial reporting to our local
Okay.
for our local how our local CBK guidelines require Kenyan banks to do so. I think that one will give a broad perspective
Of what's happening.
so that
Okay, fair
analysts
enough.
can really pick it up and the liquidity to ramp up activity on that counter.
But what was the volume like for this particular month?
We are talking about something like just shy of $1 million.
Okay.
So
that's
it's not bad.
It's not bad.
It's not bad, but it does mostly block trades. Just
so
one
$1
day
million
block trade.
and equity was at.
$12 million.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
it's
fair
12
enough,
times,
okay.
12 times.
But I mean, for it to make up that segment, it
Yeah.
means there's a lot that's happening there.
yeah.
Okay.
But it usually block trades.
Okay, block trades.
Could take 2-3 weeks without trading, and then just
And then you just
does
see a
one,
block
two,
trade.
2-3 block trades, and off you go.
Okay.
The next one, sorry, Bamburi made it to the
Yes.
list.
Okay,
It's
yes.
top 10.
You know we have. All right. What was the volume there?
Bamburi volume almost $1 million, $900,000.
Price points?
We are talking about 20 shillings.
Okay.
It was down almost 22%.
Okay.
The month of August. I think we were talking off camera about Bamburi. I think Bamburi right now is a long-term play. They released their earnings towards on 28th of
Yes.
last month.
Yes, they did.
Top line took a dive,
Yeah.
which is technically expected.
Okay.
The question is how fast can we rebound, especially on the building and construction space and real estate.
Okay.
From the banking side, when I look at the banks, they're extremely shy of that
Lending
space.
into that sector. Okay.
Extremely, they're
Okay.
very averse to it. I think especially when you look at your upper
There's nothing much
upmarket,
happening there.
Nothing much
Okay,
happening.
so Bamburi.
So Bamburi.
Okay.
So, but for a long-term player, I think
There could be something there.
There could be something
Okay,
there.
hold on to that thought, Marty. We
Okay.
have to take a quick break. When we come back, we continue to see what were the price movements, what was happening with diaspora remittances, as well as inflation. Then we will finalize this conversation by trying to see, we are, it's the 8th of September. Is there anything that you can be able to do in this particular month, and what next for the remainder of the year? See you after the break.